When you say that you're interested in the mind, what do you have in mind? You're very interested in consciousness, or you're interested in the relationship between the brain and experience?
In some sense, it was a journey. So the first things that I wanted to understand is what is representation? How does representation work? And computer science gives strong intuitions on what a representation is. It's a causal pattern that is implemented on an arbitrary substrate that is representing the dynamics of a domain and allows you to build a system that controls these dynamics, interacts with them. And so learning would be the building of such representations that allow you to get better at dealing with the reality around you. So with the pattern around you, organize in such a way that you can make predictions of what the outcomes of your actions are going to be and then select action paths in them. And so also decision making seems to be clear. And we can understand motivation from the perspective of control theory and cybernetics. So we are a system that has hundreds of different needs. Many of them are physiological, a dozen of them maybe are social, maybe a handful of them are cognitive. And then we balance all those needs in a homeostatic control system that produces urges to go in a certain direction. And then for a long time, the largest question seemed to be emotion to me. How is it possible that a system feels anything? And the answer that I came up with, and I wrote my PhD largely about this and built models about this together with many students, was that emotions are configurations of cognition. So they're not parameters, but there are ways in which the system works based on how the environment and the assessment of the environment happens. And as a result, we have an unconditional reaction to that reconfiguration. And the emotion is what this change of what you are and how you relate to yourself and to the world looks from the inside when you classify it. And so this question seemed to be answerable. Of course, then you have the more details, you have the space of affects, and you can try to analyze this and use this as a framework to start to analyze human psychology and map this on existing frameworks in psychology and see what that psychologists have discovered many of these things before and organize it into meaningful framework. Then there's also object-directed emotions like jealousy or pride and so on, where there is something interesting to be understood about how an individual needs to conceptualize itself with respect to environment, what kind of needs it needs to have to be able to have experience violations or anticipations of satisfaction of those needs, and then experience those as emotions, right? And then